Now I'm going to be your guide and driver. My name is Jesse, and you are going to be our field scientist in training today. We here at the Bronx Zoo are the headquarters of the Wildlife Conservation Society, also known as WCS, where we have experts and eco guards working in the field and zookeepers working here at home to protect and preserve wild animals in wild places all around the world. And as we travel across the Bronx River, we are going to be transported to Asia as if by magic to see animals from Cambodia to Nepal, Mongolia to India, and so much more. And as we enter our first meadow, we are going to be on the lookout for several different deer species, as Asia is well known for its deer diversity. Now it is a little bit later in the day, which means our deer species have migrated to the far side, as that is where they go back in for the night, so we'll catch up with them in just a little bit. But if you look straight back there, you can see some of India's national bird, the peafowl. Only the males are peacocks, females are peahens, and babies are peachicks. You can tell the difference between a peacock and a peahen by the color of their head, as the peacock has a bright blue head, the peahen has a grayish-green head. For more about the deer species we will be seeing on the other side is one of our zookeepers.
Hi, my name is Michelle. I'm part of the Wild Asian Keeper team. We call this area Kanha Meadow, where we care for about 40 Barasingha deer, 15 Bronx
look
deer,
at the cute little
10 black buck,
babies.
and a pair of muntjac. We start our day by checking on all the animals, making sure they are healthy, behaving normally, and safe. Sometimes, fawns and calves are born overnight. Newborns are given a neonatal exam, which includes weighing, vaccination, and tagging for identification purposes. While the animals are in the meadow, we prepare their nighttime holding areas so that they have a safe and clean place to spend the night.
And these small buildings that we're passing by now also represent a great wildlife conservation story, and here it is.
Farmers in Indonesia live closely with wild animals, like elephants, which we will see shortly. WCS field staff work with local leaders and farmers in Indonesia to come up with the crop protection unit. This unit created many different ways for farming to continue in close proximity of wild animals. One strategy was to soak ropes in chili powder and place them around the crops. Elephants do not like chili and leave the farms alone, allowing the farmer and the animals
Elephants do not
to share
like
the
chili?
habitat peacefully.
Check it out.
Now right down here in front of us we have some of our Mongolian wild horses, also known as Przewalski's horse. Take a close look at these Mongolian wild horses and you may be able to notice a couple of key differences between them and the domestic horses that we're used to seeing here at home. For one, the Mongolian wild horse has a much stockier frame with shorter legs. They also have an erect mane that is missing the forelock. The forelock is that piece of hair that droops down over the forehead, and an erect mane just means that the hair on their neck is pointed straight up, almost as if they're rocking a mohawk. Now, we received our first Mongolian wild horses back in 1902. Since then, we've had over 50 Mongolian wild horse foals born right here at the Bronx Zoo. We currently have 8 Mongolian wild horses, that is 7 females and 1 male. Now, the Mongolian wild horses were on the verge of extinction, and we all know that a species that has gone extinct is no longer with us, like the dodo bird, the dinosaur, or the mammoth. The Mongolian wild horse was in fact so close to extinction that they actually went extinct in nature, meaning that they could only be found in captivity. That was the case until recently. North American zoos have been reintroducing them to their wild habitats of Mongolia and China, and their numbers have been bouncing back quite nicely ever since. For more about our Mongolian wild horses and the work we do with them in the field is one of our field experts, Jonathan Slatt.
Jonathan Slatt, and I'm the Russia and Northeast Asia coordinator for the Wildlife Conservation Society. I believe that wildlife has a place on this earth. My job is to find practical solutions that allow people and wildlife to thrive together. Przewalski's horse went extinct in the wild in the 1960s. On a recent trip to Kazakhstan, we thought about the ongoing and successful efforts in that country to bring these horses back to the Central Asian steppe. The world needs happy stories. Watch the impossible become possible, and you see hope restored. That's what's happening today with Przewalski's horse.
And as we enter this next exhibit, we are going to be on the lookout for not one but 2 endangered species, the gaur and the brown antler deer. The first animal we are going to see out here is the gaur. The gaur is the world's largest wild cattle, standing up to 6 feet tall at the shoulder, 10 feet long, and weighing over 2,000 pounds. That's right, 2,000 pounds. That is the approximate weight of a small car. Now, it does not take a field scientist to tell the difference between the male and female gaur. You can do so today just by looking at their horns. If the horns point straight up towards the sky, that is a male. If they're curved back inwards towards the head, that is a female. And if you are lucky enough to see the smallest one in the herd, where the horns haven't completely grown in yet, that is our 1-year-old calf. But down in front of the herd of Gower there is that smaller tan animal, that is the brow antler deer. The brow antler deer is named after the male's antlers, as the male's antlers appear like large bushy eyebrows. But don't look too hard for those eyebrow-like antlers, as it is a ladies' day out. The brow antler deer has gone endangered in recent years as their habitat has been overrun by farmland. So they've had to subside off of eating farmers' crops and farmers' crops alone, which is not their natural food source, so they don't get the nutrition that they need. It's kind of like they're eating and starving at the same time. Now, you may have also looked at the Gower with those large, impressive horns and wondering how they could possibly be endangered. There's not much that threatens them in the wild, as they can go face-to-face with some of the fiercest predators, including a tiger. What does threaten these beautiful creatures is the loss of a wild Asian habitat and diseases that they catch from domesticated cattle. Now, sometimes it can be easy to forget that the Bronx Zoo sits at the heart of an urban environment. You may be hearing noises coming from a concrete jungle rather than an Asian one. That's the Bronx River Parkway behind us. To keep some of those loud city noises out, we built this large wooden fence here in front of us that where our next animal feels even more at home. As we do come around this corner, I would like to ask everybody to please remain seated with your hands and feet inside the car at all times. So far, you guys have been doing a great job of this, so keep up the good work. This is especially important as we come around this corner, as we are now approaching our tiger.
Ooh. John, you're gonna love this.
I know. Good morning to see the tiger, John.
Now, tigers have stripes that help them camouflage, so if you see our tiger before I do, feel free to point him out. He is going to be laying down here in the water there.
Oh, in the water.
Now, the tiger can eat up to 40 pounds of meat in one sitting. That is approximately 160 hamburgers, to put that into perspective.
Whoa!
After a meal that size, they won't eat for the next 2 to 3 days.
Damn. Where? Right there. Look.
Now, no two tigers have the
see
same
him.
stripes. They're all quite unique in their own way.
We found him.
Just like a person and their fingerprint. Now, this is actually our 6-year-old male tiger named Josie.
Oh, Josie.
Now, you'll only see one tiger on display at a time, as that's how they travel in the wild, as tigers can be quite territorial. For more about our tigers and the work we do with them in the field is one of our field scientists.
WCS works with many species of tigers in the wild and at the zoo. Here is a note from one of our field scientists about his experience working with rangers to protect tigers in Indonesia.
I think I got him a little bit.
Hi, my name is Farol Amama. I'm helping the rangers.
I think I got him a little bit, Seth.
Doing their forest patrol. There was a time when we found some tigers footprints in the jungle. But then we also found that some snares are installed inside the forest, which become threats to the animals. We dismantled the snares to make sure that the tigers are safe.
Alright, bear with me for a moment. We are going to be slowing down, as there is a peahen on the tracks. As soon as she flies off the tracks, we will be picking our speed back up.
What? There's a peacock on the
And there
track?
she goes.
A peahen.
Now, if you look down here along the fence line here, you are going to see some deer with white spots on their back. Those are the axis deer. The axis deer are well known for their spots, as most deer lose their spots upon maturity. Not the axis deer. The axis deer will keep its spots for the entirety of its lifetime. The axis deer is also one of the first deer species we ever received here at the Bronx Zoo, as they've been with us since we first opened all the way back in 1899. And as we come around this corner, if you look back up to your left-hand side up this mud road, you can see some of our Barasinga deer. Barasinga in Hindi means 12-tined, as the male's antlers can have anywhere from 12 to 14 points on them. The Barasinga deer has also been nicknamed the mud deer, as this deer loves to lay in the mud to keep cool on warm days like today. And speaking of mud, our next animal may blend in with their muddy habitat, as we are on the lookout for the babirusa. Babirusa in the Malay language means pig deer, as these wild pigs can have tusks that sprout out from their nose that almost resemble a deer's antlers. Now, in this first exhibit, we have a female, so she does not have those tusks coming out of her face. Only the males do. The males will use their tusks to fight off other males to display dominance and win over the companionship of a female babirusa. Now we have a male in our second exhibit, and he's walking straight back there. Now, no need to worry if you do miss out on the babirusa. as they do blend in quite well. But you cannot possibly miss out on our next animal, as she's the largest on our tour. We are going to say hello to Happy, our Asian elephant.
Oh, there you go. You're
I
in
would
heaven,
like to remind
sir.
everybody to please remain seated at all times. She is going to be kind of close to the gate here. The best way to catch a good look at her is looking down to your right-hand side or back to your left as we
What
pass
is that?
her.
Do I hear geese?
No, I think it's a peahen.
The first thing you probably notice about an Asian elephant is their size. The Asian elephant can grow up to 10,000 pounds. To be that big, you have to eat a lot, and here at the Bronx Zoo, they do. Please remain seated at all times. Thank you.
You see her?
The second thing you probably notice about an elephant is that trunk of theirs. That trunk is a great tool with about 40,000 muscles in it. That's more than the whole human body. Please remain seated.
Oh, I see it
Please
now.
remain seated at all times. In the black shirt.
Oh, I
there,
see.
thank
I
you.
see her ears, John.
For more about our Asian elephants is one of our field scientists.
WCS works in the field with both African and Asian elephants. Here is a note from our field scientists who work with Asian elephants.
My name is Dani Gunaryadi, and I'm the Elephant Conservation Coordinator for WCS Indonesia. The first time I saw a Sumatran elephant, I thought, this is a magnificent creature. They will be safe because they are so big. But the truth is, they have declined 50% since the 1980s. Even though rats and insects cause more damage to crops than elephants, because the elephant is so huge, psychologically, it seems more threatening. So when there is conflict, the farmers poison the elephants. In response, we created a crop protection unit to mitigate conflict and send the elephants back into the farm. And it's been a huge success. Since we started in 2003, no elephants and no people have been killed.
And as we enter our next exhibit, we're on the lookout for another large land mammal weighing in at about 3,500 pounds. She's going to be down to our right-hand side. This is our female Indian rhinoceros. Her name is Callie. She is going to be bathing in the mud down here. Now, a common misconception about the rhino is the fact that they have armor-plated skin, when that's just not true at all. Their skin is quite sensitive. What most people confuse for armor plating is that one layer of sensitive skin with many folds in it. Their skin, in fact, is so sensitive that they'll actually spend most of their day bathing in this mud, as the mud will help protect their sensitive skin from sunburn and insect bites. That's right, even rhinos get sunburned.
Oh, there she is.
In fact, one of our rhinos here
Josh,
at the
there
Bronx Zoo
she
named
is.
Penny is
You see her?
so sensitive to the sun that our zookeepers
Oh,
actually
she is
apply
so
sunscreen to
beautiful,
her
isn't
face
she?
and ears every morning. Now, believe it or not, the rhinos actually stomp those large mud puddles into the ground all by themselves using their massive feet. We here at the Bronx Zoo call these mud puddles the mud wallows. Now, that mud wallow that she was bathing in is actually relatively large and old compared to the other ones in the exhibit, as it was stomped into the ground back in 1977.
You get lots of good pictures, Barbara?
Monorail first opened for business.
Good.
Through the years, we've had many different rhinos come through this exhibit, stomping into the ground to their own liking, so it's only gotten larger ever since. Now, do I have any moms on the train today? Any moms on the train? Here's a fun fact for all the moms.
Oh,
the Indian rhinoceros is
you're a
pregnant
mom,
for
Mary.
16 months. Could you imagine being pregnant for nearly a year and a half and then giving birth to a baby weighing north of 100 pounds? As you can imagine, it is quite a challenge breeding rhinos here at the Bronx Zoo. Even with those challenges being said, we've had 11 baby rhinos born right here. And in this next exhibit, we're on the lookout for 5 different species. That's 4 types of deer and 1 type of antelope. I'll do my best to point them all out to you as we approach them. Back to our left, those small tan deer are the hog deer. Short and heavy like a hog, that's how they got their name. They also move kind of like a hog. They creep low to the ground and go under things rather than over things like most of their deer species would. And down here are some of our sandbar deer, and if you look in the back of their herd right there, you can see the baby sandbar deer. Now, the sandbar deer is the largest deer in southern Asia, standing up to 5 feet tall at the shoulder, weighing up to 650 pounds. Their antlers can grow up to 3 feet long with 3 points on each bar. The males will travel alone in the wild, whereas the females will travel in small groups. Now, you may be noticing that some of our trees are wrapped in this wire fencing. That's actually to protect the trees, as the animals in this exhibit have antlers and horns. They like to clean these antlers and horns by scraping them up against the trees.
Oh.
In the process, they scrape off tree bark. If enough tree bark gets scraped off, the tree then dies. So we wrap our trees in this wire fencing to help protect the trees. And this wire fencing also makes it way easier for our animals to clean their antlers and horns. Now, there is a big difference between antlers and horns. The deer species that we've saw so far all have antlers, whereas the antelope we are going to see have horns. Antlers are not attached to the skull and will shed on an annual basis, whereas horns are attached to the skull and will stay with an animal for the entirety of its lifetime.
The deer and the antelope play.
Now, if you look up here to the right-hand side, we're going to see our last two final species in this exhibit. That large tan animal up there is the nilgai antelope. The nilgai antelope is the largest and fastest antelope species in all of southern Asia. Nilgai in Hindi means blue bull, as they receive a grayish-blue tint to their coat as they mature. And if you look next to them, you can see a reddish-brown colored deer with those white spots on their back. That is the Formosan sika deer. The Formosan sika deer went endangered back in the 1980s due to overhunting in their natural habitat of Taiwan. Taiwan was formerly known as Formosa, thus giving them their name, the Formosan sika deer. Now we are actually going to be slowing down here and coming to one quick stop at the top of the hill. As we are experiencing a little bit of train traffic, please remain seated. We will be proceeding shortly. We will be moving as soon as possible. There is no need to worry. The train traffic here at the Bronx Zoo does clear up quite quickly, unlike the MTA. And as we are stopped here, I will start to describe the animal in our next exhibit. We are going to be on the lookout for China's tufted deer. Now, China's tufted deer is very easy to miss, as they only grow up to be about 40 pounds each. They also have a grayish-black coat, which helps them blend in with the shaded habitat that they call home. A key characteristic that might help you point them out, they do have a white tail and rump. They signal this white tail and rump to each other whenever they feel threatened. Or the mothers will use this white tail and rump so the babies can follow them through the night. Now, they're going to be even harder to spot today, as they do prefer the colder weather to the warm weather. So I recommend looking in all of these shaded areas. If you look to the back right corner, you can actually see one creeping along the fence line back there. If you do catch a good look at one of China's tufted deer, you can tell the difference between the males and females quite easily. Just look at their mouth, as the males have these two teeth that drop down over their bottom lips that almost appear like fangs. That's how they've earned themselves the nickname the vampire deer.
Wow, vampire deer.
As we come around this corner here, we are going to be headed right back over the Bronx River, reaching the highest point of our tour at 35 feet above the water. Not only is this a great photo opportunity, it's also a great habitat for fish, turtles, and migrating birds. If you look around, you may even be able to see some.
Just imagine seeing a vampire deer on Halloween.
That'd be creepy.
Now, as we enter our next exhibit, we're going to be in a much more rocky terrain, which is perfect for our next two species, as we're on the lookout for two different types of mountain goats, the Himalayan tar and the Markhor. You can tell the difference between the two by looking at their horns. The Himalayan tar horns are slick straight back, whereas the Markhor horns are spiraled. And if you look walking straight back there, that is one of our newborn Markhors. We do have 12 newborn baby Markhor. And newborn mountain goats are called kids. So we have 12 kids on display. The youngest of the 12 were born just this past month. Here's one of our kids up close and personal. Now, if you look over here laying down by this log, you can see our alpha male.
I missed him.
Now, our alpha male, you can tell he's the alpha male because of the size of his horns. And you can tell the difference between the male and female Markhor by looking at those horns, as the male's horns can grow all the way up to 5 feet long, whereas the female horns can only grow up to 10 inches long. Another way to tell the difference between the male and female Markhor is by looking at that neck of theirs, as the male Markhors have a mane that drops down under their neck that almost appears like a beard, or should I say goatee. I'm sorry, that joke was just bad.
Oh, Barbara.
I'd like to ask everyone to be relatively quiet as we approach this next animal, as this next animal does not like loud noises. We are going to be seeing our 5-year-old male red panda. His name is Linus.
Red panda?
He's going to be taking a bit of a nap in this tree here. Now, red pandas in Nepal are called Hunho, which roughly translated means firefox. We now know that the red panda is more closely related to raccoons, skunks, and weasels than the actual giant panda itself. The only true relationship between a red panda and a giant panda is that they both love to eat bamboo.
Oh, there he is. Is he fine?
Looks more orangish.
He looks like just a cuddly fella.
And as we do come around this corner, we are going to be ending our journey. And on behalf of myself and everyone here at the Bronx Zoo, I'd like to thank you all for joining us here today on the Wild Asian Monorail. Be sure to come back and visit us here sometime soon, as our animals' behaviors are always changing, and so are your adventures. If you'd like to help the Wildlife Conservation Society protect and preserve wild animals and wild places all around the world, you've already done so just by being here today or visiting any of the 5 parks that we manage and maintain right here in New York, whether it's the Bronx Zoo, Queens Zoo, Central Park Zoo, Prospect Park Zoo, or the New York Aquarium down in Coney Island. And speaking of the New York Aquarium in Coney Island, be sure to check it out sometime soon, as we just opened our brand new shark exhibit.
Wow.
If you'd like to go above and beyond, you can become a member. For more information about that, check the back of your Bronx Zoo maps or head over to our official website at WCS.org. At WCS.org, you can take action by joining the 96 Elephants campaign. The 96 Elephants campaign helps save African elephants from poaching. Or go online to join the Blue York campaign. The Blue York campaign helps protect and preserve the waterways and ecosystems right off our very own New York coastline. That's at blueyork.org. Our train is about to come to one quick stop. This is not our final stop. There is a train in front of us, so please remain seated. We will be proceeding forward as soon as this train in front of us leaves the station. As we are stopped here, this is a great time for me to remind you all to look to your left, look to your right, make sure you gather all your belongings. You do not want to leave anything here behind. Make sure you gather all of your small things that you brought with you, your phones, your cameras, your children.